Welcome back, and with recently playing Proteus, I wanted to find games that were stylized in that Doom type of game. So we look at a game that I saw for a while, Warhammer 40k BoltGun. In this game, you play as a space marine that is tasked with figuring out these bizarre energy readings, while also preaching the Emperor's word through the method of killing. Now before we go any further, I'm going to be blunt, I don't know a damn thing about Warhammer universe. But I found myself fascinated with this game as it felt very zealous with the cathedrals, design of weapons, even the taunts you throw at enemies. Let's get to the good part though, the weapons. Now in my 3 to 4 hours of playing, I only got my hands on 5 weapons, which to me felt not like a great ratio, but the weapons themselves feel awesome. The weapon you start with is the chainsword. Imagine a sword, but then throw a chainsaw in there. This thing is awesome in concept, but is even more awesome in gameplay. The chainsword can lock onto enemies from range. You can dash to them to unleash the Emperor's wrath on them. Now, there is one weapon I heard about before interacting with the series, the bolter. The bolter is your normal small rifle, except it shoots 75 caliber. I've shot 50 caliber. 75 just seems stupid. Which explains why it tears through most enemies with ease. Seeing the bullet casing to exit the gun is also satisfying as hell. Then we have your classic shotgun bolter that fires explosive bullets and tears heavy enemies into smaller giblets. Then we have a plasma rifle which does heavy damage in a small area, splattering enemies into little piles of meat. Then the bolter machine gun, which fires a 1.0 caliber that keeps firing without reloading. Now, while all these weapons feel good, the rate that you get new weapons lacks creativity. Just shoot till an enemy dies. I felt that I was getting bored with every weapon I picked up very quickly. Now, the movement in the game was actually the most eye-catching to me. You can speed jump to increase your acceleration to shoot enemies mid-air or chainsword them. You can definitely tell that the creators built the arenas with the idea of flying around. Now, there is one huge issue with the arenas though that I felt pretty recently when I was playing it for about an hour today. I believe that the arenas, cool in concept, are too confusing in gameplay. There's a lot of times where I'm looking for the last enemy or the door to progress to the next area. While Warhammer BoltGun is fun, I do find it a bit boring as the pacing is maybe not the most thought out. If you can grab it for cheap or free, I would recommend it. Now, I'm not going to do that thing where I point out a problem and not give off solutions, so here's my solutions. With playing Proteus recently, I think we should do certain things that Proteus did. For example is, have the weapons have alternative firing modes. When a game does this, it basically doubles the amount of weapons that the player can play with. The second thing is to create smaller arenas, but with no wasted space. Smaller arenas would make it easier and even more chaotic for the player instead of having to walk around for a couple minutes and finding the right way. And lastly, and I think the biggest one, increase the gore. We're talking about a universe where we throw millions upon millions of enemies with different factions and different philosophies. There is no blood for the blood god here. I believe there's even a food source for soldiers that is corpses, serving the Emperor in death. While I do love this game's art style, it feels definitely more of like a fan-made game than a game made by an actual company. Not bad, but lacks experience. To say out of 10 with the time I put in the game, I'm going to say that this is probably a solid 7 out of 10. What do you guys think of Warhammer BoltGun? And is there another Warhammer game I should check out? I've heard the series is great altogether.